Hello guys, I'm Turn Off Chat, and how are we doing again today, guys? I hope you guys are enjoying this wonderful series. It stopped the second I hit F4. So, what I really want to show you, which just broke on me, it's a little laggy on the server, which makes a little sense because of what I've been doing. Just don't want to fall in there. So, as you can see, I've been spawning withers. Craft 3 of them. Why did this stop? Well, not really gonna worry about it. But still, oh, I hope I can pick this up. Well, nonetheless, we're spawning withers now. Oh, I just dimensional warped myself. Whatever. Yeah. So we've been spawning withers. I didn't realize I was on my dimensional warp. And I need to wait and see how much I have because I have to go down to, I have to actually go to my station. So. Eh. Anyway, I want to go to the brain of my system. X to the brain. Okay. Let's warm myself up there. Haven't changed my magical level, really. Haven't been practicing, although I have done a ton of thaumical learning. Ooh. We're a bit laggy today. Whatever. Throw that up there. So yeah, that's probably something we're going to need to work on with our skeleton skulls, since those are no longer... have a ton of those. So as you can see over here, I have now an arcane crafting table up here with a golden wand, and we have stuff in here. The other thing you might notice is that we're missing one of these interfaces, and we now have this thing. It's called an arcane assembler. This allows me to craft magical items which require essence using a knowledge core, and I can also give it certain items that reduce the pricing of it. So currently my reduced price is 62% of the average piece cost. I needed this to learn a bunch of different items so that way we can do things inside of Thaumic Energistics by moving things through Essentia and importing them. I also will eventually teach the system how to make 64K, although I did make some few on my own. So, today what I want to learn, I've learned over my studies that we can take draconium dust and refine it into draconium ingots. Although me and Dion are growing it, which I have automatically now being changed into ingots instead of into a dust form, which is very useful, allows me to have easy access to the dusts. So I can keep the dust for different items. That thing that you saw that the Endermen were dropping into is a thing called dragon infused obsidian. Dragon infused obsidian is one of the things that require draconium dust. The other thing that I'm using in there is the dislocation receptacle, which also uses blaze powder, as well as one of these and a draconic core, which is the reason why we needed, which is beginning to get into the reasons why we needed the nether stars in the first place. One of the reasons we need the nether stars was for wyvern cores. Wyvern cores require 4 draconic cores, which aren't very expensive, and a nether star. I'm going to teach my system how to make all this stuff because I'm going to be trying to get up to the armor that this system has called draconic armor. One of the things that this requires is called awakened draconium. Now, to get awakened draconium, there are a few ways to get it. One of the ways is to explode a heart with 4 charged draconium surrounding it. That is one way to get it. The only problem with that is that it requires dragon hearts, which means that we would have to be farming the dragon. That would get tedious, so me and Dion found a faster way. We found that by fusing Zivisio, 64K cells, octuple capacitors, wand focuses of fire, and a draconium block, we can make 1 awakened draconium. So we can keep our heart for on display. So, I now want to say... So now what I want to do is I want to teach my system how to make draconium. At least the awakened kind. So I've already taught it how to make blocks. So here we go. Block grabbed. The other thing I need is the octuple capacitor. Something I've taught my system a while back, but haven't really been using it much since my machine because of the machines that I have. Now, the last item that we need while we wait on that thing is the fire wand focus. This is where I required the magical crafting thing, because the magical crafter over there, because these require, if we look at their recipe, if we look at the fire, if we actually look at the recipe, it requires 5 Ignis and 10 Perdicio. Now, so now that I've taught it that, so I taught it how to make those things. Now, to keep that thing full, you saw that it doesn't pump it straight from the interface. It's actually a thing kind of similar to a P2P. But it's more in the air and more kind of wireless than that. I'll show you in a second. Wait on that octuple. What are we waiting to craft? Shouldn't be needing anything. My octuple did not go through. I think my octuple went through. Octi. Ah, there it is. And octuple like that. There we go. We have now taught my system how to make draconium. And we already know how to make these. And we also know that we know how to make 64. I thought I taught the system how to make 64K cells. I taught how to make all the other things. K. C. Store. I didn't teach how to make any of the storage components because by the time I'd gotten to that point, I'd already made tons of them. So quickly what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, you, craft. Don't really worry, not too worried about the pure surge quartz anymore. You, the 64, and the 16. Since I have all the other items being crafted, I really was just worried about the draconium. Look down there, those are some other items that I needed to have taught my system how to make before I can make draconium. So now we have taught draconium. We also already know that the system knows how to make Zavisian's essence. So I'm going to show you real quick downstairs on how I'm moving my essences. You'll see here that I am cooking up certain aspects, and in my system I actually am storing a certain amount of each of these 6 basic aspects of Thaumcraft. Air. Thought I had this thing had a thing on it. Whatever. Air, Ignis, Agua, Terra, Ordo, and Perdicio. I'm also trashing Gelidum. And I'm trashing Precantatio. These I'm trashing those because I don't need them when they're mixed elements, though I could store them. The other thing you see over here is a crafting machine called an alchemical construct making me alumentum, which is a very good burning material, which eventually I might use to power part of my system. 23K of it. It's pretty good. I am cooking coal on the bottom, which gives me which give me Ignis and um, Potentia, and then Perditio I'm pumping into the system from over here where I am cooking it. Now you might be questioning, what is this thing? This is called an ore node. Ore nodes generally have a certain amount of aura in them. I have a 10-10-10 of all of the primal aspects, which means that I fuse the node with other normal node. I originally had a normal node that was bright that's absorbed other nodes until it got to the point that it was 100 of each aspect. It was very difficult, but I did do it. Next thing I did was I put a node stabilizer under it so that it would stay stabilized. It also will not be absorbed or absorb other nodes with this stabilizer. If I use the advanced one, it could absorb other nodes, though that would not be useful. On top, I have a node transducer which changes this node into the energized ore node that you see. This energized ore node allows it to be connected to the V's relay, although it shrinks the amount of essence that it does create, down to 10 from 100. And it only produces about 10. It changes it down to, instead of creating one aura, it creates um a percentage, being millions. So this only produces in millions of percentage. The reason that I have this like this is because I need this V's relay interface, which is Stomach Energistics, which connects to my system, which then is connected to that wired thing. I could also connect it to my wand terminal, and I could charge my wand inside of there without using another aura node to charge it. Sorry about all that explanation, but that is very important for what we're going to be doing today. So today, I'm going to change my armor. That's right, I want to change my armor. So, the other thing we need for draconic armor is we need wyvern armor. Wyvern isn't very expensive in the fact that it requires draconic cores. Draconic cores we can teach our system. Our system is kind of like, that's pretty cheap. We have diamonds, we have gold, and we do have draconium. Diamonds, gold. Now, we're a little bit lacking in the draconium department, but I think we'll be fine. The other thing we need is we need to teach the system how to make wyvern cores. Wyvern cores are a little bit more expensive, but still useful. Last item we need is this wyvern energy core. This is something that's also simple to craft, but it could be complicated because of how many we need. Next thing we need is the wyvern chestplate. All of the stuff that we have, so I'm just going to shove these in here, and I'm going to craft the items that we need. Draconic core, you, and then we look in this one, and we dump that one. So I'm going to take my armor off now, and I have a glitch skin. And I want to go for wyvern. I know I need exactly 4 of these. Start. And I need 4 of you. So now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to craft this. As you can see, it crafts fairly quickly. Now, sit there, and we have the wyvern helmet. The good thing about this is that these are all powered items similar to my suit. The only problem is they're not quite, they actually kind of are a lesson, but they make me to they have a little bit different kind of a protection. See, now I am protected around my body, where I have kind of like a force field around my body where I can take a certain amount of hits, while this charge is stronger than diamond and can now withstand even greater blows. Regarding armor with draconium to vastly improve the resistance, and you feel even stronger and faster now that you have the. See, the original is that it requires diamond legs, but we changed that. Is for the power armor with draconium, and you've learned to improve the boost of draconium. As you can see, also, each one of these holds 1 million RF. Quite a bit of RF, I might say. The other thing you might notice is that we don't have our quick speed. The reason we don't have this is because of a control option. There it goes. I think it was 8. Was it 7? It was 7. We can actually configure our armor. inside of this armor. We can give it enchanting books, which I intend to give it eventually. I can also configure the HUD here, which allows me to move things around if I really wanted to. %. So as I'm not using it, it's going to fade away. The next thing we're going to be doing is upgrading this to draconic. That's not that hard for us. So we're going to craft one awakened draconium, teach the system how to craft this down into draconium ingots, and then we're going to simply just add it. And then we're simply going to kind of copy it, since that's all the draconium is. If we actually look at the draconium armor, it is a similar crafting recipe with the awakened cores and the energy core, except for it requires wyvern. The awakened cores aren't expensive much with the wyvern, energy core, and awakened draconium. This might become where it gets a little bit pricey because these items are more costly. Also, while I am waiting on that to craft, I am going to search for my wyvern cores, and I'm going to teach this system how to make, and I'm going to have it craft a few. I say craft a few, but I actually mean 4. The reason I'm having it craft 4 is just so I have some extra on the side. Dracon. So now we have taught the system how to make, now we have got it to make draconium blocks. Now we say, hey, for every draconium block, it equals 9 ingots. We throw this back up here, and we check on our wyvern. Good. Now we go again to draconic, and we say, hey, for the draconic helmet, give me an awakened core. Now we've taught the system how to make an awakened core, and we've also taught it how to make the energy core for the draconic armor. This is where it's going to get a little bit pricey, because I need 4 awakened and 4 energy. So let's come over here and let's get this crafting. Draconic. 1, 2, 3, 4. For those very expensive lists, as you can see. The other thing that we need is the awakened cores. 2, 3, 4. There's another tier of core above this, but we're probably not going to get into that. The other core above this is a chaotic. The chaotic core. The chaotic core requires chaos shards. Chaos shards can be found by killing a chaos dragon. Now, I'm giving you this information because chaos dragons are generally hard to get and they're very annoying. I am not going to be killing is it continuing now after I check this real quick? I am not going to be killing a Chaos Dragon because they're not really useful. Now, I could have gone into the Magical Bees a while back with Chaotic Polis and tried to got into the Glittering Entropic Comb. I could have tried to breed bees up to that point, which would allow me using the Chaotic Polis to have a 99% chance of getting Chaos Infused Dust, which would give me Entropy Shards. Not what I wanted. I was hoping that those would craft Chaos Fragments, but they don't. So, all is well. So, let's look. We have 2 of our Draconic cores. We have 0 of our Awaken. This is going to take quite a bit of time because we require a lot of it. See here, we're crafting and restoring 1. So we're waiting on this. So basically we're waiting on that. There we go. Instantly crafts. And boom. Now, the next thing we're going to need to wait on is some Awaken. The Awakened cores are a little bit more annoying because the system takes longer to craft those than it does to craft the charge things. Because again, we have to wait on draconium blocks. So we have to craft energized alloy, which means we have to craft vibrant alloy, which means we have to wait on a octuple capacitor. So this is currently crafting, waiting on that. Everything else is pretty easy to craft. We also need this to craft double layer capacitors. Eventually, I wish to speed this up to the point of where it's near to instant. Now, the power glove is something that I also want to upgrade, but I don't know if I can. One of the things that I do want to have is the draconic bow. The draconic bow is very good. It's also not very expensive. Let's see if I can craft that. So, to craft the draconic bow, I need a normal bow. I am not wasting materials to craft myself a normal bow, when I can just fuse the bows together that I have in the system. because apparently I'm not deleting items fast enough. I'm going to fuse all the bows together simply because I just don't feel like having bows in my system. Or bows that aren't impressive. This enchanted bow that I have of power 2 is alright in sense. It's not really that good, but it's not that bad either. Wyvern. I want one of you, as well as I want one of you. Not very hard. There goes my energy. There goes my core. And we also want some draconium ingots. As you can see, we've already dipped into our reserves of draconium fairly quickly and fairly easily at that. We're going to need another draconic energy core. Wow. Missing fire shard essence. Interesting. Okay. Clearly, I need to work on increasing the growth of our shards at Dion's base. The real question is, can I craft more of this? Because I need 6, 12, 24. I do need more fire shards. I will be back once I have a little bit more, once I have a few more fire shards in the system. Okay guys, I'm back. Now, it's actually been a while since I played. I actually gathered up some of the awakened stuff and let my stuff craft up because I decided that I wanted to get this draconic stuff. There's also one more thing that we're going to be building in the next episode because this episode is already quite long. So we're waiting on the draconic energy core and we're waiting and we need another. Jesus, awakenings. Come on now. What are you waiting on? Energetic alloy. Dang. Come on now. I octupled that, didn't I? That is super slow. I say it's been a while. But then I don't have energetic alloy. Genius. I will be back when this finishes. And we're back. I now have my awakened cores. So, I have my draconium. I have my awakened draconium. And I have my awakened cores. Let me grab off this wyvern armor. And let's throw it in here. Now, if you in the difference, as you can see, this now holds 10 million RF. We can actually increase this later, I believe. Not shorten, not certain. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade this bow. And although my skills are very nice with my magical spells, a bow is very nice, especially since I can give it infinity on it. Out of arrows, I could just grab more arrows. Do have to give it some time. It needs power. This requires power to charge. Now, as you know, my system doesn't really have a vibrant charge, doesn't have a charging station anymore, because I kind of used up all my power. You can also see now that my power system is a lot higher, and I can take a lot more hits. The other thing I want to look at in controls, all real quick, I don't need you anymore. So O is now open. Numpad 8. numpad 9. So now I can actually choose this auto fire air on air velocity modifier. So I can increase this so that my maximum damage is 360. Auto per shot is 40,000 though. I'll also reduce this so that it only requires 2,000 per shot, but it does a max damage of 9. I think I'm going to increase this by only a slight amount. Actually, no. I want to go to one-shot Enderman. Yeah, that's close enough. The other thing I want to do, Arrow of Draconic Fire. So now I can increase the amount of fire. I can make it to explosive, shockwave power, and magnification. Each one of these does different things. Base damage would also be nice. Looks like I've maxed out. I can also give this enchants, such as the, if I look at my enchantment books, such as my, I don't have an infinity book, whatever. I want to definitely give these enchants last stand. The only problem is that currently with this book, the only problem is that I cannot make it duplicate inside of this thing because of weird things that have to do with with enchantments going into this. So I could duplicate it, but I cannot at the same time. But still, as this armor charges, as it takes its time to charge, because this is holding 10 million RF, there is a way that we can keep this fully charged. Now, granted, this will also require power of its own, but if we can keep it charged, it will be great. That is called the draconic flux capacitor. The Wyvern flux capacitor holds 8 million RF. If we look at the draconic, it holds 2,500. That will easily keep up the armor for a good while, unless we use the bow with it. The bow will cause a problem with it, causing the arrow to be causing this to rapidly lose its energy. See, there's the problem. Need more energy, which eventually we can supply it. At the moment, we're going to need a draconic core. Well, not a draconic core. We're going to need a draconic flux capacitor. Now, the other thing, as I said, we aren't storing energy. One of the things I've read about in the draconic, this is going to be the end of the episode, by the way. One of the things I've read about in the draconic evolution information tablet is a thing called a draconic energy core. I also want to make this enhanced charm of dislocation, which allows me to warp basically everywhere. I will quickly make this also on camera, since it's fairly cheap. So, modifier, gonna want that. Disenchanter is also useful, as well as this draconic chest being just the largest chest in the game. What we need is the particle generator, as well as an energy core. Thing is, certain distances is required between the energy core and those pylons. I'm going to set up something in the central area over there, and that will be it. I'm going to build that over there off camera, as well as set up what we want it to look like. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, very information packed, about Draconic Evolution. I'm going to get these filled up, hopefully off camera. It's going to take a while, but I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Bye guys!